Welcome to the Amazing Authorities Podcast, where game changers, visionaries, and category leaders share how they built their brands, platforms, and global influence. Your host is Mitch Carson, international speaker, media strategist, and creator of the Instant Authority System. If you're ready to learn from those who've done it and want to become the go-to expert in your space, you're in the right place.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be flight bound without any wings, without the aid of, let's say, a higher power, but being propelled and being free? Our guest today, Dan Schlund, is the true rocket man, also known as the Iron Man, popularized by the movies that we were able to take in, the fantasy of flying. Now, Iron Man used propulsion out of his hands. Dan uses jetpacks and handles, and he's truly the Iron Man. Dan, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mitch, how you doing? It's good to see you.
Yeah, and the Rocket Man, I mean, you wrote a book on it. I see it over your left shoulder. Please hold it up over your right so they can see it and invest. So it's Dan Schlund, and it's right there, Schlund. So it's a unique spelling. It's called The Last Rocket Man, and it's a memoir of how you got into this, because I'm very curious. You know, we had a little bit of pre-call discussion. I'm very curious. How did you get into this? One day you woke up and said, I want to fly without wings?
Well, it was a little bit more than that. You know, everything in life, you need to earn it or have some sort of prerequisite to do it. And my prerequisite was doing live stunt shows. So I used to play Batman, Indiana Jones. I was the cowboy that would get shot off the building or set on fire. And I used to do that at theme parks in a couple of different countries. And then I had met the owner of, I call it the rocket belt sometimes because technically it's a rocket, but we use rocket belt, jetpack interchangeably because most people think of it as a jetpack. And Chuck Norris's stunt double, Kenny Gibson, owned one. He built one, and he was looking for another pilot. And I told him, I said, hey, my name's Dan. I'm a stunt guy. And I do live action stunt shows and everything, because this is basically not like you get your pilot's license, but this is more of a stunt performance. And that's exactly how we look at it, as a stunt performance. And then when you're finished with the stunt, you might have to meet some dignitaries. You might have to do some choreography. You have to meet and greet the crowd. So showmanship was a big part of the Rocket Man persona.
And you're an entertainer. Essentially, you've just distilled, you're an entertainer who happens to use a rocket as your vehicle to entertain.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. So do you manufacture these today, or do you buy them pre-built? I mean, are they still, is it the same model that your, let's just say, your teacher of the craft brought in? I mean, who makes these?
So originally it was created in 1951. April 21st, 1951 was the first official free flight of the rocket belts. And through that time, it originally was designed for the military. The Army was going to use it to send soldiers over rivers, or if a bridge went out, they could just have infantry fly over. But they ended up mothballing it because at the time it could only fly for a short amount of time. It's too easy to shoot the pilot down. It's too noisy. And then it kind of went into mothballs for a while. And then there's a resurgence of it. So since 1961, I am the 11th person to ever professionally fly a rocket belt. And more people have walked on the moon than have done what I've done.
Wow. 11. Now, is this something that is easily learned, or is it quite difficult to take off, stabilize, and you're okay. Here it comes.
Oh,
The head shake.
it's difficult. You strap that thing on, and you have to start on a cable. If you don't start on a cable, you're going to end up in the hospital really quick. So you start on a cable, and the thing is, you want to lift up, fly forward, and land. That's all you want to do. Just lift up, fly forward, and land. And it's the hardest thing because you lift off and you are all over the place, just crazy. And then the next one, you start to find your center and so on and so forth. And then before you know it, I'm able to, on the cable, lift up, fly forward, and land. And then the first time you get off the cable, it's a little spooky because now you have no safety net. There's no parachute, there's no safety net, there's nothing. It's just you, the sky, and the ground. And my first flight went great. My second flight went great. My third flight, when I landed, I bounced. And I bounced back up in the air, and Kenny grabbed me. And that threw the thrusters off, and I slammed into the ground, knocked myself out cold, and basically was being burned alive for several seconds because that tube had bent in and was burning my right leg.
Oh
And
God.
because I was knocked out, they were trying to shut it off. They're trying to get it, from skipping across the ground and everything. It was horrific. I just remember waking up in the back of the ambulance, figuring out what happened.
Oh man.
I lost 185 inches of skin, 3 skin
Jeez.
graft surgeries, 2 months in the hospital. It was it was horrific.
So third time was not a charm. And
No.
third time was a pivot point, probably on many levels in your life. But you did it again, it sounds like.
You know what? You know what? In my stunt training, we always had a saying, don't let your last experience of something be a bad experience. Because if you have a bad experience and you don't face that fear immediately or as soon as you can, that fear grows and it festers. So I said to myself, I'm going to get back on this thing one more time. One, because I knew I can do it. Two, I wasn't going to walk away with a scar on my leg and feeling like a failure
Mm.
because I didn't get back on the horse. All I needed was courage. I had the training, I had the equipment. The equipment was fine. My training was fine. It was just a small mistake that turned into a horrible thing. So I said, okay, I'm going to try it one more time. One turns into two, two into four, four into eight. And before you know it, I'm a professional rocket man.
Have you had an accident since that third unfortunate event?
Yeah.
Oh,
And it was one that took me out of the game. I actually had two. Um, One in Australia in 2005 or 2006. And it was just, in stunt business and in life, you like to push the envelope. How far can I take my skill? So you take your skill and you push the envelope. And when there's not an audience close by, okay, let me practice a little bit. This is my second professional flight, so I'm trying to give it a little bit more pizzazz. And I got into a spin, and I could have tried to fly it out, but I didn't want to risk the audience. So I just held my spin and I watched myself go down, 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 down. Pow, hit the ground, didn't break anything, but rang my bell, and it was embarrassing as heck because unlike, the hangar, no one was there to see it. Now I'm in front of a huge audience. But my Rocket Bell team put it back together. That night, I went to massage therapy for a couple of hours, and I was back flying it the next day just because we weren't going to give up.
well, I like you say your last accident isn't the one that defines you or isn't the one that you're going to leave the experience with. You want to leave on a high note if you're going to leave it. Are you still flying today?
No, I flew it. So I crashed in 2013, broke my neck. That
Oh,
was technically the last time I flew it. And then in a turn of events that we can dive into, in 2023, 10 years later, I was able to purchase it. And I purchased it and I said, I'm going to fly it one more time just because you don't want to let that last experience be a bad one. So I said, if I'm going to do this, let's make a documentary. And I had already written the book, and they said, let's make the documentary on your book. And they made a really good one, and they go back to the 60s when they first started flying it. There were some other stories of intrigue where there was a murder and a kidnapping over someone else's rocket belt, and then it kind of gets into the story of me getting back into it. I can't tell you how it turns out. You'll have to watch it to see if I survive.
Well, we'll watch it and your book. So what's in your book that people can take away?
So my book it's basically a story of perseverance.
Okay.
Because through this whole time, it's about getting back up on the horse. It's about so many people want to know what's it like to fly? What's it like
Oh
to
my God.
be?
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So there's a good number of stories about some of the events we went to, because when you see this in the stadium, you just see some guy flying through the air, and it's graceful and beautiful and so seemingly in control, which it is. And you come down, but you don't think about the travel, making the rocket fuel, the transportation, the issues you run into with the different producers. And I'm talking from Russia to Turkmenistan to Australia to New Zealand to Angola. I mean, I've flown this thing in 25 different countries on 6 continents. So we kind of go through what it's like that. But then after that crash in 2013 with my broken neck, I was on painkillers. I was on hydrocodone.
Oh man, I know what that's like.
And it with the building anxiety, because anxiety was a constant message. After that first crash with my leg, I could not get past that anxiety. It just kept creeping up, and it got so bad that I had to give up the rocket belt, the rocket man lifestyle, because mentally it was killing me. And I lost my identity. Unfortunately, I had lost my wife in
Oh.
divorce. We're still great friends now, so it's
Well,
better than it's ever been. But
well, good for you that you're able to do that. I got divorced 20 years ago and there hasn't been one discussion since. But
oh yeah,
yeah,
no,
well,
we
you
do,
live through it. You move on. Yeah.
yeah. And then the struggle with the painkillers. I've never even smoked pot. I'm not a drug user, but I couldn't get off the hydrocodone, and I had to go to rehab. And through that, I found my identity again. And I'm kind of a religious guy, so there's a lot of prayer and submission through my whole story. And I said, well, I need to do something else, and I became a paramedic. So
Mm.
this is in the book too. And I created a company called National Set Medics. And what we do is we provide medics for TV shows and events nationwide, and in a few countries we go to, but nationwide. And in the 10 years, I had grossed over, or the company has grossed over $10 million. We're with
Bravo.
the Rocket Man. Thank you. But we're with the Rocket Man. When you spread it out over the years, I was making less than minimum wage.
Oh, geez.
I couldn't take care of my son. I couldn't, you know, barely pay my bills. I got to travel everywhere. So in my mind, God had to pull me out of that rocket belt so that I could do something else. And then in the turn of events, 10 years later, he gives me the jetpack back.
Oh my
You know?
gosh. Well, you basically, yeah, you flew in a different direction.
Yeah.
I couldn't resist. Had to say it. Yeah. Yeah. But you landed on your feet with your
Yeah.
existing business, and that sounds like it's going well. So that pays the bills, pays for your son, and your ex-wife, because you said you're talking to her, so she's got to be happy.
Oh yeah, it was one of those things where it just got bad, but we get along fabulously, which is very unusual,
Oh yeah.
very, very unusual. But there's no child support, there's no alimony, there's no nothing. Look, you take yours, I'll take mine. We'll raise Danny together, and you know, I pay for his private school because I can afford it. She covers, the medical costs because she has the corporate job. It just works when
Wow.
you
Well,
take the
that's nice.
emotion out of it. Yeah.
Well, that's so true. Isn't that a lesson? If you take the emotion out of it and look at things objectively and clearly, you can make some intelligent decisions. And so you've got a documentary coming up about this. When will that be released?
We're not sure yet. We were hoping it'd already be released. We finished filming in 2023, 2024, right around there. And we're in the editing. They're laying down the music. It just passed legal. They're doing the colorization. So it'll probably be either this year. We might go to Venice for the documentary festival out there where we'll have the premiere, and then we'll see who buys it. But it'll probably be a Netflix or a Amazon
How long will it be?
platform, hour and a half.
So the
And
standard
it's
90 minutes. Yeah.
yeah, and it's not just Dan. It's not just me doing my thing. Of course, there's plenty of that of me growing up and becoming Rocket Man and the travels, but it really dives deep into future technologies. There's a device called the Gravity, which is more like Iron Man than mine because you've got the thrusters on your arms.
Oh,
There's a good portion of that. Where are we going in the future? Where do we come from? Again, there was that murder, kidnapping whole scenario that happened before I became Rocket Man, and they wanted to put a good face on the jetpack pilots, so they hired me. And so even the teenage girls, which wouldn't necessarily be your demographic, they love it. They're like, wow,
mm.
this is amazing. And it just shows you get back on the horse. And here's the greatest part. All these crashes I'm telling you about, HD footage. I had the camera on my chest when I crashed. The footage is gorgeous. You see me hit the ground, you
Oh
see the
gosh.
dust, you
So you
hear
get
me
to relive it.
yelling and groaning. Oh, it's beautiful. You see pictures of my burn, the
Oh,
raw skin, the horrific.
delicious,
I can
Dan. Absolutely. I haven't had breakfast. Okay.
I
Wonderful.
can
Get
I
to
can
see
laugh
burnt
about it
skin.
now.
Well, that's you've obviously worked through it and you're emotionally balanced, clearly. Or you've had some, like you said, some divine intervention to help you with dealing with that. And you can laugh about it. That's got to be one of the most painful, physically and emotionally challenging events of your life. I don't know if it was the burn or the broken neck. My gosh, pick one.
The burn.
Oh, okay.
But what's worse than that was the anxiety.
I
And
can't. That's why I
and
said the emotional side that had to
yeah,
have been so taxing. Yeah,
I'm
and
I'm telling you, if you're struggling with a an addiction or anxiety, man, get the book. It shows you not only that you can survive and get off that, but you can thrive and be the best you that you can be. It's
I love that. And I'm very open about my recovery. I'm recovered from all of that embodiment, 42 years coming up here. And I haven't
wow.
had a drink or any drug or any of that, any mind altering substance in 42 years because I had a problem, couldn't stop. And if somebody judges me that's listening to this on the podcast, they're not my audience. I'm a human being just like you. We're flawed. Things happen and you recover or you don't. You've recovered. I've recovered. We're marching here sharing this story. I want to go back just for a second to the documentary. I find that particularly interesting. Did a producer find you or did you market yourself? What was the storyline of where that got picked up and produced for you, or is it because you were a stuntman and knew the right people?
Um, Basically, I had met a producer through a friend of a friend,
Okay.
and I said, you know what? Uh, I'll executive produce this. You do the creative. I won't step on the toes. If I look like a fool, then I
Mm-hmm.
look like a fool. I don't care how I look. I just want a good quality product. And man, then it just started rolling from there. We started signing contracts and getting everything in line. So basically, I had met through another friend this producer, and he's the one that got the team together, gave the schedule, and then my job was to make sure that I had all the rocket belt up and flying. Now, granted, it's been 10 years. Yes, if you haven't ridden a bike in 10 years, you're going to be a little wobbly. Well, not
Right.
only that, I'm 40 pounds overweight,
Okay.
and you need to be about 180 pounds ideally to fly this thing. And I was 240 pounds
Wow. And you hadn't done it in a long time, so you were rusty and heavy.
and had to get back on the cable. I mean, it's funny in the documentary seeing me flop around with, I look like a pregnant man flying
Okay.
and with, and setting my boot on fire and all this stuff and working out and just, I eventually got down to 220 pounds.
Okay.
And that was enough to do
What you needed
a
to do.
flight attempt. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And so when you say executive produce, are you the one that has to fund it? How does that work? And
Yeah, I funded this one. They kind of pushed me against, don't call yourself an executive producer. We don't want other people to know you're funding it because it might come off biased. I don't care. I said, if I look like a fool, then I look like a fool. Tell the story. That's all that's important to me. And then, they would have, I know my footage really good. So when they were pulling footage out, they'd have a footage of something. And I would say, hey, I think I got a better flight that you could choose from. And I had to collect all the footage. I've got about 10 terabytes of footage from around the world. And I mean, we're a real shoestring budget here. So they went through and found the best footage. We got the best camera angles. It really was a good job. Everyone worked harder than what they got paid for. And
mm.
I and I'm a, and not only am I thankful, but I think it's going to be more than your average documentary. It's really, wow, this is what these guys go through.
So typically in that industry, on the business side, because people might be interested, there are a lot of authors that listen to this podcast and would love to have their story. Obviously a different story than yours. Are documentaries profitable for whatever you laid out, whatever that number is? Will you recoup your investment, or is it more of a personal quest to get your story out there to help other people?
Well, I hope so.
Well, I don't know. I don't know
So,
anything
okay,
about that
so
side of the business. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just being funny. The deal is I get the money I invested back and then a
Okay.
percentage afterwards. I think that not only will they pay what I had put into it, but maybe 50 to 100% more than what they paid.
So it
But
can
it
be
has to be
profitable.
quality. It can
Right.
be profitable. Um, it's got to be good quality. So when you do it, I think what I spent altogether with when it comes to the book, when I went through that whole process, I don't know if I'll get my money back on the book, but I know I'll get it back on the documentary.
Did somebody write the book for you, or or just help you edit
Yeah,
it?
yeah, kind of. It was kind of a, how it is. It's a correlation. Here, this
I've
is
ghost
this
written
is a
60
story.
books, so I know the
Oh
routine.
yeah, so it's not, you know, I read it probably about 10 times, changing little phrases, this and that, to get my message exactly the way I wanted to do it. but the ghostwriter, co-writer, however you call it, he did a very good job in capturing my voice, but I was involved in it every step of the way, making sure that it was exactly, no, I didn't feel this, I felt that. And then I will rewrite it, send it to him, and then this is before GPT or
GPT.
whatever,
Yeah,
you know. So he was the human Chat GPT
got it.
and would polish it up, and I'm like, that's it. That's what I wanted.
Well,
It was
good.
just more elegant. Yeah.
I'm glad, and you think so? The documentary might come out probably in 2027, is what you're thinking?
I'm hoping this year by Christmas, but the
Okay.
way things are going now, we already have a lot of buyers that are interested in getting it and selling it. I'm not 100% sure how that side of it works because we've got the other executive producer handling that, but there's a lot of interest in it just off our sizzle reel.
Oh, it's
And
interesting, and we're, you know, we will play the clip throughout the interview here so people can see it. Most of the people are listening only in this mode, but for the people that see this on our YouTube channel and the clips, we'll be showing this 20-second piece of you doing this because there isn't any sound, so we'll just play it so people can see what we're talking about, because this certainly has a visual component to it. It's a lot
yeah,
different than just a discussion about a book. This is truly intriguing and interesting. And I think you tap into a lot of people's fantasies of this uh, flying without being in an airplane. Flying, there's one thing, there's parasailing or paragliding, all those different types of ways to be free flying, because man has always fantasized of being a bird, but you're doing it through technology. Wow, man, that's just so
yeah.
cool.
And so for your listeners out there who can't see the video, basically imagine strapping a 160-pound hunk of metal on your back, three tanks, a bunch of different tubes, and you have two handlebars sticking out just like that. And you turn that throttle and you pop off the ground immediately.
Wow, that's so
And
cool.
it's just like a helicopter. You can hover there. You can go left, right, forward, back, side to side. I've taken this thing over 100 feet in the air and as fast as 85 miles an hour. But here's the clinker. You only have 30 seconds.
Oh, it's 30 seconds. That's it.
That's the longest you can fly it because it's a rocket motor. It burns 2.2 pounds per second, generates 800 horsepower.
Oh
The
my gosh.
byproduct, the thrust, is superheated steam coming out 3 times the speed of sound at 1200 degrees. And you know what it runs on?
Rocket fuel.
Hydrogen peroxide.
Hydrogen peroxide. Wow. So you wear a suit, you got to have a helmet, I presume. All of these things you're
Sometimes.
sometimes. Oh, you're a
I
risking man.
well, I did two flights without the helmet. One was in a tuxedo for this red carpet event where I come flying in with the tuxedo. I land, I pull out the cigar, touch it to the tubes, light it, and then walk in James Bond style.
Oh my gosh. How
It
cool
was
is that?
awesome. It was
That was a
awesome.
high-end wedding. You did that?
I've done high-end wedding where I took off of Henry Ford's house
Uh-huh.
in on his plantation. We got on his rooftop, took off, flew out, flew over his water, landed there, and then welcomed the happy bride and groom into the reception area. So
Wow,
so
what a
that
nice
was fun.
effect. What a nice effect.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Well, Dan, you've been a fantastic guest. Where can people buy your book? Where's it? Is it on Amazon, The Last Rocket Man?
Yeah, it's everywhere books are sold. It's called The Last Rocket Man. Documentary is called The Last Rocket Man. But if you want to see some awesome pictures or buy it direct, you can go to rocketman.tv.
Rocketman.tv. I look forward to watching your upcoming documentary when it's up there, and I would love to have you as a guest in the future after the documentary goes live, and then we could talk about that journey, because I think that's an important one people would love to listen to and see about this, because that is a next step for a successful author. Well, oftentimes the book comes out, people want to become bestsellers. That's another step to make that happen. And then to create a movie about it is the ultimate. And you've taken it all the way to the extreme. You're a man with extremes who's gone to the extremes. Yes. Yeah.
Although
You don't
I live
settle
a
for
pretty simple
mediocre.
life.
Yeah. You don't settle for mediocre. Dan Schlund, D-A-N, last name Schlund, S-C-H-L-U-N-D. Look him up. The Last Rocket Man. Dan, thanks for coming today.
Mitch, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun, and I appreciate your time.
Thanks for tuning in to the Amazing Authorities Podcast. If today's episode inspired you, take a moment to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It helps more experts like you rise to the top. For behind-the-scenes access and free resources to boost your authority, head to MitchCarson.com. Until next time, stay amazing.